Now, girls and boys, I got you the latest news on Shibarium and the Bone Shibaswap. Guys, it's a big update and it's regarding if Bone Shibaswap is a security. I'll let the Shiba Army take over and give you the details. The floor is yours.
We do face the potential. We might not be on that list of 67 at the moment, but Bone could be a potential security. And we should not have to face any type of battles given the security and soon to be notoriety of the network. But even other seasoned tokens and their capability of operating their networks and being successful as a solid investment are still facing many battles today. Now, the asset in question, SHIB, is safe as other currencies. Technically, we could voice our opinion amongst ourselves on Twitter, or we could voice our opinion to our congressmen. We can really do that. We can really call these people and voice our opinions on what the future of crypto will be. So we can do our research, but we can also take action. And despite how much these entities fight back against bad entities, quote unquote, does anyone really be 100% bad, good? That is for you to decide. But ultimately, right is right and wrong is wrong. Bender, I see you with your hand up. What you got?
Um, I want to say this hashtag not financial advice first off, but nor legal advice for recorded purposes. But yeah, I recall a article not too long ago. Coinbase had released some information that the SEC had wanted them to delist every single coin and token except for Bitcoin. If I'm not mistaken, the chairman of the SEC has stated in the past, if it ain't Bitcoin, it's possible, or if not, all out security, if I can remember the statement, paraphrasing it in terms of that. So, personally, I don't think, it's by the definition, maybe they're in their focus and one of the highest priorities, you know, based on previous releases of what they've actually thought and went after in terms of a security. However, there's no zero outside of Bitcoin, any token or coin that's safe on the market right now until again, appeals, verdicts, whatever the legal process takes us to this final journey and case is fully closed, and that stands. I mean, I'll take the wins and the definitions that are being established right now, or at least the case precedents, and that kind of thing going on. But yeah, that's good, and also good to see. I'm not the biggest fan of Coinbase, but good to see them just coming out swinging right now. Um, I think early on, they were politely asking the SEC on guidance and this, that, and the other, and it seems like, don't quote me, just seems like, in my opinion, since they announced that partnership with BlackRock, they just kind of taken the gloves off. Like, look, this ain't this ain't that. And I mean, I don't take these statements. I mean, you're talking. I mean, what do they say? Everything that everything you say can and will be used against you. So I mean, you're making these public statements right at the SEC, Twitter. So I'm pretty sure, there's been some legal advisory on before you hit send type of situations, or at least hopefully there has. in terms of that. So I mean, yeah, this isn't like this isn't like me at the SEC in a news tweet like y'all tripping. This is like Coinbase. Somebody that if they find and it's found righteous to do so, they can cash them out. So yeah, just depending on the fine, by the way. But yeah, it's yeah, nothing right now is set in stone. But I mean, with that being said, I think again, as what we've seen here of recent, that that probably they're not hopefully looking at SHIB or anything else in the ecosystem in that regard. And, the list kind of sets precedent on what they are kind of seeing and why they would charge those tokens specifically for their actions. So we'll see.
If we're talking about the SEC, like people have been looking for regulations for a pretty long time, and the pattern that I've noticed as well is that the FOMC meetings that they have a couple of days before volatility starts to increase over the market, and it's kind of like a little pattern. It's like a little game that they play. I don't know, like what that has to do with securities, but it's all related somehow. And the SEC, without giving proper regulations to crypto, they're leaving people out in the dark. It's like, you can do this, but you can't do that, and you can do this, and you can't do that. So at the end of the day, it's not helping crypto as a whole. That's my 2 cents on that. Like, I can't tell you if a coin is a security or not. That's just not something that I've had the knowledge of. But in terms of regulation, they're just not pulling through and providing clear instructions. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sabo. And it's like they say that crypto's so risky and it's not it's fake money, it's not real until they want the taxes from the crypto and then it's real again. So it's kind of like I guess a double standard there. But I'm glad you both Calvin, you made some really good points about getting involved. And then Bender also, yeah, you're right, nothing's really safe. And even if we have all the court cases, come into play and they've established it, then you don't know what the next administration is going to say about it. So you just never really know. But I think we finally have a little bit of, I guess, we have a little bit of momentum here in the crypto industry that maybe some of these are going to turn around in our favor with the court case with the SEC and all that. But I wanted to go over this, and everybody has a different opinion of centralized exchanges, but I think as far as in the U.S., Coinbase seems to be taking the lead. Helping people learn how to get involved, how to speak to their legislators, how to fight. And this is one article that I printed out, and it's about Stand with Crypto that Calvin mentioned. And we've talked about this for a few months now that Coinbase really, um, started this campaign to be able to educate the crypto public about what we can do to get involved. And it's saying the IRS wants to track all of your on-chain activity, fight the IRS proposal, and protect your privacy. So it's talking about the IRS proposing invasive reporting requirements that's going to impact everybody who uses digital assets, including NFTs and stable coins. And then it goes into just a few pages talking about, how we can be involved, how we can be a crypto advocate. And I really want to encourage everybody to at least check this out, to go to the Coinbase site and look for Stand with Crypto information. Um, and it talks about just protecting your privacy by speaking up against the IRS proposed rules to track all of your on-chain activity. Call your Congress. They even have letters if you need those that you can send to your congressman. Email your congressman. Follow up your call. We'll make it simple. Support Stand with Crypto. And that's the initiative to mobilize 52 million crypto advocates in the U.S. And then put your crypto to work. Donate to Stand with Crypto by minting the Stand with Crypto. I personally have done that handle, and that way it just says that I've minted the NFT, and I do want to stand with crypto and help fight back. And then it says tweet stand with crypto or hashtag stand with crypto and help bring more advocates to the cause. So think about doing that. Not financial advice or any kind of advice, but I think it is good that we all get involved and at least, you know, get on that website and find out what we can do if we were so inclined. Because, if we don't speak up, who's going to? And all these regulations and, legal actions will come down and then it's too late once it's already happened. So, the best thing that we can do as crypto advocates is to read up, to kind of figure out what's going on in the industry, in the regulatory tracks, and just really try to speak up, whether it's in the public and on the media, in the media, if you go to your congressman, whatever you can do to get involved. But it really does take each one of us speaking up, because if we're all silent, we're not going to have any say. It'll just be done for us. And back to you, Calvin.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yo. Okay, that's cool. I'll just update you all in the chat. But yeah, I'm glad that we are still here, and hopefully everybody will stand with crypto. I'm gonna give a couple of shouts out here. Metahead, I see you. What's going on? Bam Bam, I see you. What's going on? And I see a plus two. But whoever you are, I appreciate you. Hashtag pro crypto. Hashtag wag me in real life. Um, okay. So we about have like half an hour before we call it a night. Is there any specific topics, Queen, that you wanted to touch base on that has been going on in the cryptocurrency world?
I did have a couple of them that I want to touch on, but first I want to ask you. I was just looking at your handle. So you've got the badge, the Stand with Crypto badge, and you have a phone out there. Is that to call your congressman, or what is that about?
Yes, that is to call your congressman. Um, Coinbase makes all of these initiatives very easy to do. You won't have to like Google who your congressman is in your state and find their number. It's a step-by-step process if you are a Coinbase user. Not financial advice. You don't have to go download Coinbase. It doesn't matter what you do. If you hold, shout out to you. That that's about it. But they do make things easy. That's just the transparent truth.
Yeah, but they can't do it for you. So we all have to get involved.
Bingo.
They can scream from the rooftops as much as they want, but until the public, has an outcry and demands things to change, nothing's going to change. But I had a couple things I wanted to talk about the Binance UK chief departure, because I think that is kind of a pattern there with finance regulatory people involved in regulatory sectors and finance leaving, stepping down. And then let's see, I had one little quick article here about Hamas, that's crypto's role in financing Hamas. So we can talk about that. And then the so sorry, my dog is going crazy. One article that I just wanted to encourage everybody to read. It's a little much to go into here on the recap, but we can really dedicate a whole section to it. Um, and it talks about optimistic versus zero knowledge roll-ups, which layer two is better. And I think that's important for us to, be able to determine the difference between those. What is shibarium in terms of the roll-ups, the layer twos. How is it identified and how does it work? And then just, kind of the pros and cons of each of these. The popularity, it talks about, the security, comparing scalability, comparing complexity, privacy, popularity, and then EVM compatibility. So I think this is a good article for like homework for everybody to kind of take a look at and read. and then maybe next week we can go into depth and have a discussion about this. It is very interesting, but it's a little bit lengthy. So I'll put it in the nest, and then we can move on.
Absolutely, for sure. I could say majority of the time I'm probably indulging in these things firsthand. Uh I do not indulge in everything. Uh please don't. The average, well, I can't say that. I was personally taught to definitely have more than one wallet so I can run tests. That's not something that you have to do, but that's something that I was taught. And testing multiple layer twos. It's interesting to see them, work. I mean, we can read up on these things and we can dissolve the code. It's either you lose it or you use it. And at the end of the day, you don't have to do anything. But in order to get the best experience, it does take indulgence. I tell people that all the time when they try to fudge shibarium. Hello? But at the end of the day, for those who indulge in the network, they have their own opinion. And mm, I would simply say I think hypothetically maybe um unless there is already some liquidity on the network, ZK rollups could possibly, they won't even jam up. They'll just like won't go through. Um Unless there is some liquidity there. If you have something about to launch or uh go live, most of the time if it's a lot of activity, it might not allow the approval, or let alone the whole middle way. uh your transaction was submitted but not all the way, those types of things. You caught in the middle, caught in limbo, they just won't work with optimistic roll ups. You might wait a while if the network is jammed up, but ultimately the transaction will go through. And it's just interesting. You got your pros and your cons. I mean, optimistic rollups do have their cons for sure, and so does ZK rollups. Um, how extensive is that list, Crypto Queen? Are we talking like an extra hour and 30 minutes? We're talking a whole nother show going into the pros and cons of both.
Yeah, it's about 18 pages long. Um, and it goes into, I'll just tell you what it encompasses, some of these tokens here that you've heard of. It talks about the 7-day transaction, um, 7-day waiting period to submit those transactions before they're confirmed on the layer one. It talks about optimism, which is what the Coinbase's base is built on. It talks about Arbitrum, OPBNB, which I have not seen a lot about. ZK Sync, you've heard of that, I'm sure. Um, and it just talks about, it's got a chart here, and it talks about, I'll just go over really super quickly the difference with security optimistic rollups. Validators in the system screen transaction over a period of time to detect and trim off malicious transactions. And then zero knowledge with security, it uses a set of smart contracts to ascertain transaction validity. Ooh, I can't even say these words. They're so hard. But it's more instant. So optimistic will kind of that is just like a screening. It says I'm optimistic that this transaction is going to go through properly and we're not going to have any problems. Where in the zero knowledge, it's immediate. So it says the scalability on optimistic rollups, lower reported fees, transactions are light. With zero knowledge, each batch consumes more gas and is heavier. The finality with optimistic rollups, a transaction takes up to 7 days to reach finality on the mainnet due to a challenge. And then in zero knowledge, each batch is validated instantly, no challenge, period. And the complexity in zero knowledge, the technology is more complex, whereas in the optimistic, the technology is simpler. In privacy, um, in optimistic, you have fraud-proof validators that can eavesdrop on transactions. And then in zero knowledge, validity proofs aim to provide a higher level of privacy. And then popularity, the optimistic are more popular based on total volume locked, and then zero knowledge are less popular with users based on that TVL. And then compatibility, the optimistic rollups are EVM compatible, where the ZK they have differing stages of EVM compatibility, which may require more work from developers. So I don't know if that gave you a whole lot. It's kind of a super technical there, but it's just says kind of final thoughts. I'll try to summarize it here if I can, but it says the optimism of optimistic rollups might be regarded as a security and privacy weakness, at least relative to zero knowledge rollups, but this also gives it a strong performance score over ZK rollups based on transaction costs and computation requirements. Both systems share unique strengths and weaknesses, but they are more of a complementary set rather than differing systems. So I know you guys have been reading here recently that how well Base is doing, and it's total volume lock, that it's really, really doing well. I can't remember the exact number that it has, but it's definitely off to a pretty darn good start for Coinbase with their Base L2 optimistic rollup. So Calvin, I don't know if that helped you at all, but I think it's definitely something we can all read and kind of familiarize ourselves a little bit better and then have some conversations next time about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully, our audience is just getting more interested into the overall crypto market, because knowing, regardless if you want to call them competitors or just simply acquaintances in the crypto space, we are all here to build, and ultimately we have one thing in common. We do not favor centralization. Everyone claims someone is more decentralized than the next. Ultimately, this is crypto, bro. Like, we gonna keep things still detailed, and do our part to be as transparent as possible. But this whole debacle on, I mean, in my personal opinion, it doesn't take 10 years to say what is and what is not. Like, from my opinion, I might not be as seasoned as others, but I was on the fence because I watched the news and I was like, oh, Bitcoin is bad. Anything crypto is bad. Oh, people make money on Dogecoin. They got lucky. Those are narratives that people literally live with. And the more that we know, the better that we will be. Um, I don't know. Before I go into personal, I guess, closing statements, Bender Sabotage, any
Yeah.
closing comments?
I just believe we need more adaptation, whether it's centralized or decentralized. Doesn't really matter to me, truthfully, because it's all on the blockchain. You can see it. And I just believe interfaces and trading should be a lot easier for newcomers to be able to adapt into it. As soon as that happens, I believe the crypto market will just boom, right? It's low now still. It's not in the high trillions like it used to be, but that's because of a lot of grifters as well. There's a lot of bad actors in the spaces. We got to get rid of those people. Got to stop following people that are bad influences, and try to tell your friends about it, tell your family about it. If you believe in it, you should be advocating for it in your own way, with however you can do it. And then there's the SEC as well, which nobody can control other than the governments. And that's just something else that puts another barrier between adaptation and crypto, right? So there's still a lot of factors. I still think I can still say we're still early. And yeah, thank you guys for hosting. I appreciate that. And those are just my thoughts. Anything I say is not financial advice. Most definitely not. I'm not a financial advisor. I see patterns when I see them, and I try to do as much research as I can on everything that I can. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you, Sabotage. Much love. Bender, any closing remarks?
Yeah. Going back here for a second to what Crypto Queen was talking about earlier, I believe with the IRS, I just started thinking about it like, gosh, man, like, and I get it, there's bad actors in the markets and trading and what have you, not just like, crypto or anything else. But man, there's just a lot of different agencies that are just sticking their nose in, overseeing it. Just, I mean, you base it on monetary funds, I guess, they had to say so on that. So that in itself is kind of eye opening. I don't know. I don't know. It kind of sounds like it's almost a tie. It just depends on which way you really kind of want to go, with a little bit more adaptation with the I don't know, whatever the opposite of the ZK Rollups one was on the L2 structures. But if I can recall here recently, we talked about an article with Polygon adaptiveness and everything speeding up. So, if it's safe and if it comes down to speed, I'll take the speed. But, I guess there's pluses and minuses to both. It seems like, like I said, they're about at a standstill. Outside of that, still going to take a positive week overall in crypto. It put some feel goods, back in the thread. And as I scroll along, it's great to see everybody posting green candles and that kind of thing too. Not gonna lie, I get, I look at it as fun, to be able to talk about that versus, whatever acronyms we discussed during the bear market, I guess you'll say. With everything. But it's just interesting. I think Sabotage, you alluded to it, just some of the, I'll say, chess pieces being moved around. One we didn't even talk about in depth was the BlackRock having, a nice stake in, I believe, in a media outlet that was, writing articles on BlackRock, in terms of that too as well. So, just different things going on out there and everything. But, it's not foreign, in terms of, people making statements or interviews being had, and then, stock markets, or crypto markets, or both markets moving in one direction or another with everything. So, I think that probably won't be foreign to us moving forward either. But outside of that, man, love the title this week, The Battle. Once again, happy birthday to the lads. Big ups to Crypto Queen, Calvin J. I appreciate y'all 1,000,000% for allowing me up here on this beautiful platform. And it's been a fun time as usual. Thank you. Look forward to next week.
Absolutely, man. And what can I say? We learn from the best. We appreciate you, even the lad. And then I will say, to end off thoughts on a good and positive note, there were many crypto enthusiasts who were highly excited for Robinhood, early on in the year of 2022, maybe late, yeah, early 2022. Um, they're still building, and this is just my personal opinion. Any company who is offering 24-hour trading on a 5-day period might have some crypto somewhere in the cut. Now, for those who use Robinhood and indulge in the investment platform, you can do your research on which companies are indulging in 24-hour trading of their stock on a 5-day period. That these things, in my personal opinion, the whole transfer of wealth thing, we're probably not going to get there for a while, but we are in another, I guess I can say, milestone period. I mean, we have the so credible and notable Security Exchange Commission who never loses cases, and if they come after you, they are having a hard time. And it might not be everyone within the agency, but the chairman definitely has some questions to answer. And in the name of building and also still following the rules, shout out to Robinhood, because ultimately they kind of are one of those platforms who cannot fight back like Coinbase. And Binance simply chooses not to fight back. I'm pretty sure, giving their uh, credibility and notoriety, that they can operate outside of the US and still function, because this is crypto, a worldwide asset for all. And I definitely look forward to next week. I hope that everybody has something that they can go back and do some research on, because ultimately that's why we're here. Not simply to pump our bags, but acquire knowledge, become better. And I don't know. If anything else, I know they say be careful with your investments. Don't diversify too much. You don't want to stretch yourself too thin. But I do want to say good night to everybody. And whatever you choose to do with your bags, I wish the best for you. Enjoy, learn something, bring it to the table, teach somebody something. But all in all, I hope everyone is safe, and see you all next week. Thank you.